Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Courtney and today I'm going to be discussing all the books that I'm planning on unhauling. So I've unhauled a few books here and there, but for the most part, I'm just someone that holds on to my books. I've always been this way. I like having a big collection, but even taking all these books out of my collection, I still have a lot of books. But if you don't know, I've moved home recently, moving back in with my parents. Trying to get a job after college is really difficult. It's a burden I do not wish on anybody, but I've moved back home. So this is the first time I've really lived at home in 8 years, and it's also the first time I've had all my stuff in one place for 8 years. And it's not like I wouldn't have gotten rid of stuff living with my stuff separate, but living in a big city, living without a car, living without all your stuff in one place, it does make it difficult to purge and just get rid of stuff. So this is really the first time in like 8 years that I've really purged my stuff, purged my clothes, jewelry, makeup, and now books. So I really just tried to pare down to the books that I like or love, and I really tried to pare out books that I just didn't need, they didn't serve me, or when I looked at them, they didn't make me happy. And I can say, since completing redoing my bookshelves, I have not missed any of these books. I've not missed staring at any of these books. And so yeah, it's going really well. And so what I'm planning on doing is making this unhaul video. Next, I'm starting a Pango book account to sell these books. I'm just gonna try Pango out, sell little by little and see how it goes. But if Pango doesn't work out, I will be donating them either to my local library or to a place that I know will enjoy and need these books. But we are going to now switch over to my guest room where all the books are being held, and we will go over everything that I have. So it's really messy in here, so please ignore anything you can see in the mirrors. Let's go over this massive pile. I basically just put all of the books on the bed right now, and it's a lot. And this is in no particular order. It's just looking at the books. Right off the bat, I have a children's book. This is Ginger Pie by Eleanor Estes. I'm pretty sure this was for a book report in like 3rd or 4th grade where we had to read a Newbery or an award-winning book. I don't know if it was Newbery specifically or if it was just we have to read a book that has an award on it. I picked this book. I didn't really love it at the time, but I've always just kept it on my shelves because again, I'm a hoarder. Another children's book I have is The Westing Game. I wanted to read this because it's a classic. It's very much beloved, and I read it a lot later in life and I did not enjoy it, so I don't need it. Another children's book I have is Wonder by P.J. Palacchio. Again, I read this later in life, so I didn't really connect with it as much as a younger reader probably will, and I want to pass this on to a younger reader who will get a lot more out of it. Where should we go next? YA? Why not? So 2 books I have are Wires and Nerves and Wires and Nerves Volume 2. This was a graphic novel companion series to, what is it called? The Cinder series, like Cinder, Scarlet, all those books. They made 2 companion graphic novels following a different character after the series completed. I love the original series. I don't know if the series entirely stands up today, but I do like it. I do not like these 2. I didn't like the art. I don't know, I just didn't connect with it like I did with the original series, which is really unfortunate because it does follow one character I really enjoy. But yeah, I can pass these on to a diehard fan that would want to read these. Another series I have is the Jack the Ripper series. So I have Jack the Ripper, Hunting Prince Dracula, Escaping from Houdini, and Capturing the Devil, all by Carrie Manasalco. So I was gifted the first book in this series, and then during the pandemic, I read all 4 books via audiobook. This was like at the really beginning of the pandemic. I want to say like March or April. They were cheesy and easy, and it was really fun. I'm not mad at these books, I just don't need them. I will say the first book to me is the best in the series. It really stands out. I think the banter really works, and I really like that book. And I debated keeping just that one book, but I would rather sell the entire series as a whole to somebody who really wants all the hardcovers. This is like one of those series I'm actually not mad at. I did enjoy it. Dipping into adult fantasy, I have A Darker Shade of Magic and A Gathering of Shadows. I do not have the 3rd book in the series, although I did read it and complete this series. The 3rd book, in my opinion, is the best book in this series, but I don't know if it makes up for how much I really hated the 2nd book and how much I was just okay with the 1st book. I really like Vicious by V.E. Schwab, but this didn't work for me, so I don't need to hold on to it, especially because I don't have the completed series, so I will pass this on to somebody that, again, would like the hardcovers. And next we have Winter's Orbit. Again, I didn't enjoy this. It just wasn't for me, so I will pass it on. We have Ride Upon Styx, which again, just wasn't for me. Shadow of the Wind, which I hated. I did not like this book. Mr. Pendulum's 24-Hour Bookstore. This was fine, didn't do anything special for me. I Am the Messenger, again, didn't do anything special for me. Don't need to keep it. City of Thieves, again, I cannot even recall this book. Did nothing special. Next, I have a little bit of a special edition book, which is Laini Taylor's Strange the Dreamer in hardcover, the British edition. Unfortunately, although I got this on the day it released in England, this is not the special sprayed edge edition. I don't know why it's not the special sprayed edged edition. I think the sprayed edge editions may be only for the first printing, which would have been pre-orders probably. But I didn't love this series, so I don't need to keep it, especially because I don't have a matching second book. This is Muse of Nightmares, the second book, and this is in the US edition. Next, I have Geegarella, which I don't need to keep. It was a Q contemporary. And then another newer book I have is The Witch King, which I just didn't enjoy, and I don't see myself completing the series, and if I do, it will be via audiobook. The next series I have is the incompleted Sarah J. Maas Throne of Glass series. So I got The Assassin's Blade, Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows, and Empire of Storms. I think this is, I don't know the order of the last two books. I've read up to that in the series. I didn't finish it. For me, the series seriously went down in the third book. I have a lot of opinions why that is, and yeah, I just have a lot of opinions on the Throne of Glass series. I'm still contemplating finishing it, but again, it will be via audiobook or through the library, so I don't need to hold on to the series, but I might hold on to them for just a smidgen if I want to do that video. I'm not sure, but let's get back into books. Another booktube darling in its day, I have the Illuminae series, which is Illuminae, Gemina, and Obsidio. And I loved this first book. I thought it was really fun, really creative. I liked the characters. This second book, it was really repetitive, but I did enjoy the characters, I will say. And the third and final book just didn't do it for me. I didn't enjoy this book at all. I gave it 2 stars. So while, again, I contemplated keeping the first book in the series, it just doesn't make sense to me to have one in the series. I would rather just send the series off to somebody who wants the entire series. Next, I have Ernest Hemingway, the Barnes & Noble bind-up edition of 4 of his novels. I've read 2 of the novels in here, possibly 3, but honestly, I'm just not as drawn to reading Hemingway as I was in college and high school, and this is such a beautiful tome that I would like to send it off to somebody who really likes it and wants it on their bookshelves. I have other hardcover editions like this of novels that I have completed, so I don't need to keep this on my shelf. Next, I have Wonder Book, which is a writing resource for fantasy and sci-fi writers. This just didn't work for me. I think it will work better for other writers. Next, I have a Silent Voice manga series. I enjoyed this. I really like this series, but I've never loved this series and I've never obsessed over it. And I'm really trying to only collect and curate my manga selection to books that I love, 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 and series that I've obsessed over. So this is taking up space in my collection, so I will pass it on to somebody who really, really loves this series. I have a couple books from my graduate program. All 3 of these are short story collections where I only had to read a couple of the stories for class, and I don't see myself finishing the stories because these authors just weren't my favorite or didn't work for me, and they've been sitting on my shelf long enough that I can give them off to somebody else. I have The Question of Bruno, After Rain, and then Lost in the City, and I'm hoping those will find some literary fiction people that will really connect to those stories. I also have a copy of The Lovely Bones. I don't need this anymore in my life. It was fine. I also have Go Set a Watchman by Harper Lee. I didn't like this. I don't need it. Next, I have The Invention of Wings, which again, didn't love, don't need it. Follow Me to the Ground, which I didn't end up connecting with, as well as Upright Woman Wanted, another book where I just didn't really get anything out of it. I have the infamous 13 Reasons Why, as well as Eleanor and Park. I might end up donating a couple of these that are more beat up, but I am going to try and sell everything just because a little extra cash would be nice. Next, I have the Knife of Never Letting Go series by Patrick Ness. These were okay. I didn't love every aspect of them. I think they would be really fun to tear apart in a class focused like on colonial and imperialism, but I don't need to keep these. Coming up next, I have a Ember in the Ashes series. So I have 2 in the new editions, A Sky Beyond the Storm and A Reaper at the Gate. And then I have the next 2 books, A Torch Against the Night and A Ember in the Ashes in the old hardcover editions. So I will probably end up selling all 4 of those separate just because they look different. But I didn't love that series, so I can pass it on. Next 2 books in the same series I have is Once and Future, and I also have A Sword in the Stars, which this is an ARC, so I definitely have to donate it or get rid of it. I cannot sell this, but this book I can sell. It really pains me to give away any of my queer books because I like to just have all of them that I can show off and recommend. This series just wasn't for me. I didn't like it, so I don't need to keep it. I can still recommend it without having it on my shelf. I have some tiny little books, which is We Should All Be Feminists and Dear Ajoe, a feminist manifesto in 15 suggestions. These are 2 little short essays done by Adichie, and I have mixed feelings of her as a person, and I especially have mixed feelings of these 2 little essay collections. They're a little bit trans exclusionary, so I feel like feminism has grown past these and they're not serving me in any way, so I don't need them. An oldie and not a goodie, Ready Player One. I also have The Power, which I don't need. I have The Dreadful Tale of Prospero Redding, which I didn't love. I still want to try and finish this because I am a completionist and I like to complete everything, but I don't need this book to complete the series. I also have a nonfiction, which is The Less People Know About Us. This was interesting, but I don't need a copy of it. And I also have some comics. So I have Deadly Class Volume 1, Monsters Volume 1, Gotham Academy Volume 1 and Volume 2. I'm just finding out that I'm not really a comic person. I love manga, I love graphic novels, but I don't really like comics. And you might be like, those are the same thing, they're very similar. Yes, but the art is very different, and the pacing and how words and how the text looks, just how graphic novels and manga and comics. And I'm finding out that I can't really get into most comics. There are a couple that I'm collecting, but I don't need these since I will not be completing them. I've got 2 more series. So I have the Kingdom Keepers series, which I want to say I read in high school. Like, I think I was reading this the same time my 7-year younger cousin was reading this series. And it's fun, it's cute, especially if you're like really into Disney or have a kid that's really into Disney. But this series gets really drama heavy and just very much like adult writing teenage characters. So I don't think I need this anymore. Especially because it's not in any way a nostalgic read for me. Again, I read this in high school. And then our final series that we have is the Cassandra Clare City of Incest series. And I have the original series as well as the last 2 books. So I have City of Bones, City of Ashes in paperback, and then I have City of Fallen Angels, City of Lost Souls, City of Glass in hardcover, and City of Heavenly Fire. So I read these starting in middle school because my friend was reading them and liked them. But if I'll be honest, I never really loved the series. First book was a 3-star for me. Even back then when I should have loved it, I remember just not liking it, not liking the weird incest thing, not liking the romance. I was very much into not reading books that had kissing in them back then, and so I don't know why I continued to read these. But I completed the series and I was so happy and excited that I completed that original trilogy. I was so proud of myself. And then Cassandra Clare came out with 3 more books. And when I finished that series, I was like, yes, I did it. I completed them all. I never have to read one of these books again. And yeah, she kept writing them. I have since read the Clockwork Angel series, which I do enjoy, and I am currently keeping that series on my shelf. That's the main reason I was holding on to the City of Bones series, is because I wanted to keep those with the ones that I liked, and it felt weird to get rid of the original series and not have like the add-on supplementary series. But it's like, I don't love Cassandra Clare as a person. I don't love these books. I'm never going to read any more of these books. I like the series that I like, and I don't need to keep the rest of the series. But yes, we're ending that with a little bit of a rant, but those are all the books that I'm getting off my shelf, and it honestly, it feels so nice. My shelf feels just so free and airy and light. But wait, because we have a bonus. We have a bonus. So I will be holding on to these books. I'm not quite getting rid of them yet, but that is only because I'm keeping them for my end of the year wrap-ups and all of that end of the year stuff. But after December, these are going to be sold and they are leaving my collection. So I have The Ones We're Meant to Find, Fence Striking Distance, and I have the Bronze and Brass series. I have the 3rd book and I will sell this series with its 3rd book altogether. And I will probably end up selling Fence Striking Distance with its companion sequel as well. But yes, these are a little sneak peek at what's going to be going on my Pango in in the future if I end up liking Pango and keep with it. Wait, I found it. Okay, here's the final book in the Bonds of Brass series. So I will sell the series together, and I will also be parting with May the Best Man Win and The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. But again, those books are a sneak peek, and I will be selling them on my Pango if I end up liking using Pango, and those will be sold after December after I use them for all my wrap-up stuff. So if you particularly want any of those books, stick around till January and I will get rid of them then, and you will be able to buy them. But for now, if you're interested in anything, keep an eye on my Pango, as I will be selling most, if not all of these. And I don't know if you can look up seller names, but my name on my Pango is Courtney Lynn, and then it's Courtney 760574. So if you're interested, maybe check out Pango. I'm not being sponsored by them, but I'm willing to give their service a try because I've heard good things about it. And yeah, those are all the books that I'm going to be unhauling. It honestly feels so refreshing. I was so worried about unhauling these books because, again, I haven't really seriously unhauled a bunch of books in a very long time, but it's like, I don't love all of these books. They're not serving me. I don't need them. And now that I've put them aside for like a week and had my shelves clean and better organized, I'm not missing any of them. I haven't thought about any of these books since I put them in a different room. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys later, and happy reading.